Good Thursday, everybody. Meteorologist Casey Cloud here in the Weather Center taking a look at that current map here of the region. You can see exactly what's going on right now here, and that's not too much on that Doppler radar picture. You can see those temperatures here as well. I know 68 last observation toward the Keystone Airport, and where I'm at, we're sitting around 69 degrees actually toward the east of Stark. So that's something here. That's pretty much in line. Those temperatures not dropping necessarily as much here at night as we're seeing that warmer air mass here in play. So that's something we'll kind of keep our eyes on here as we look ahead in the timeline. It's going to be pretty much around average here as we do look ahead. It seems maybe starting to inch above that though as we kind of get into next week as we get some more chances of rain that are a little more noteworthy, trying to move on in toward the picture. So we'll keep our eyes on that here as we're monitoring things in the Weather Center. As we kind of zoom out, there's actually some interesting national weather stories to talk about. I know you've heard about the wildfire threat there toward Arizona. That's been so significant, but we actually have, believe it or not, a tornado warning right now in, of all states, California. We'll go ahead and zoom into toward this area here right now. You can see off toward the west there of San Andreas there. You can kind of see we have some accent popping up, some lighting in there, and then as we go to rotation tracker, you can see a little bit of that is detected here within an operator algorithm. So we'll keep our eyes on that here, obviously, as we do look ahead, because that is a national story. Second tornado warning out there. This area prompted another tornado warning and got extended off toward the north and east here in the state of California. So definitely interesting to see. Let me go ahead and pop on up here other mode of things. You'll be able to see that rotation a little bit better right here. This is in California, north of State Road 12 there, and you can kind of get the idea of what's going on. You see Valley Springs in there as well. So we'll go ahead and keep our eyes on things very carefully as we look out toward this area, out toward this state, because I'm not necessarily expecting to see that. We thought we'd see a threat toward Oregon yesterday, though, and that didn't end up materializing. So you just never really know what happens here sometimes. As we always say, the weather is very unpredictable. You got to expect the unexpected. Now, we also had a tornadic cluster, I guess you could call it, of warnings, really the same storm, but that was out toward Missouri earlier on. We had some different hail-producing storms, and I ended up seeing some tornado warnings there in that Springfield television market, so that was kind of interesting. We're now seeing another threat start to emerge here as we get towards some different areas of the country as well, looking out toward Kansas. So let me go ahead and get over there and switch you on to that on our other source here. In just a couple of seconds, we have some discrete storms starting to form, and that can always be a problem here sometimes. So let me go ahead and zoom on in. You see here areas there of Kansas. We have two severe thunderstorm warnings. This tornado watch just being issued in the last little bit right before we came on the air here. Really, as this goes, report to Kansas until about 11 o'clock Central Time. A few tornadoes possible, scattered large hail, with maybe some hail there events that could reach up to 3 inches as these storms are just starting to get going. This one severe thunderstorm we'll have to watch right to the north and westerly of Greensburg, Kansas. I know everybody in the meteorology community really familiar with that town. Going back here, I think it was 2007, we had a devastating F5, the F5 tornado going through that area, and it had many fatalities. Not seeing an environment necessarily indicative of that tonight, but we do have some isolated storms. We'll have to watch this storm here. This is a severe thunderstorm warning that's in play with some considerable damage potential from the hail. It's located there near the community of Windhorst, and it's moving northeast at about 30 miles an hour. We're talking about maybe some hail upwards of about 1.75 inches in diameter. That's golf ball size hail. The wind threat not as prominent at this point, but you see that yellow behind me, that is that tornado watch in play. These yellow polygons, of course, the thunderstorm warnings. And then we have this other severe thunderstorm warning for parts of Ness and Rusk counties here. This is for quarter-size hail, but we're expecting the wind profiles to kind of induce maybe some of that rotation here as we look ahead over the next little bit. So we'll continue to watch for that here, obviously, as we look ahead in toward the timeline for sure. That's a big story out there with a couple warnings. We'll see how things do evolve, and there is a tornado threat, as we kind of alluded to. You see that there on the map, even further off toward the south. It is maybe closer towards Sedgwick County there in Wichita. We'll have to watch for that here as well. Even parts of Oklahoma there, you see areas there around Alba there, close to Woodward as well with a threat there. Hutchinson, the Great Bend, you kind of get the idea. Some of those areas that you generally see. I hadn't been that active in Kansas really recently, but those areas that you traditionally see here for that big tornado threat in May and June, we have at least a smaller tornado threat here tonight in place. So we'll keep our eyes on that here as we look ahead into toward the timeline of that threat going to be in play tomorrow as well. And we'll just keep watching that. Even if they're on Saturday here, not necessarily extreme, but it is noteworthy enough to mention here on this local broadcast in North Florida and South Florida, talking about a national perspective. I do want to go back to California again, with that tornado warning in play here for the San Andreas area. You see off toward the north and east of Stockton right now. You see the southeast of Sacramento. And just trying to give you guys perspective, because generally not too many people are going to necessarily know where this polygon is, because most of us here are not too familiar with that area out toward California. But that's where this is, the northeast of Stockton to the southeast of the capital of Sacramento. So just going to keep our eyes on that as we look out there in toward that state. But back to that local picture again. I know looking at my thermometer, 68.2 is the reading. I know that wind's been around here. We had a high gust here of 18 miles an hour earlier today. A high temperature, actually. I've got 78 degrees where I'm at toward the east of Stark. That's kind of interesting. The pressure's pretty high here. I know seeing that pressure kind of with that gradient in play, we end up having issues here with those higher wind speeds. So definitely something to kind of keep our eyes on here as we do look ahead in toward the timeline. You can sometimes get those stronger winds here in play, and that's what we're seeing. That pattern going to hang around here as we do look ahead later on in toward the timeline, even with that rip current risk as well. So you have to just be mindful here of what can happen when we have these type of situations in play with that pressure gradient proven to be a factor. But as we go ahead now and go on over toward some of our different cameras here. We'll go ahead and pop up FSU's camera right now. Let me go ahead and pop up. This is the Florida 511 perspective right now toward Jefferson Street and Woodward Avenue. So let me go ahead and just kind of reiterate where we're looking right now. And that is toward that FSU campus. I know those exams coming on up here. So hopefully folks are studying for those. Important, obviously. And graduation right around the corner for some as well. So good luck to everybody out there as that does approach as we're looking toward my alma mater, Florida State University, really right off campus. But you kind of get the idea as, again, people going to the Stroger Library, the Iraq Science Library, just trying to get prepped there, or maybe just studying in their residence halls or on off-campus apartments even. It's important to ace those exams as we go ahead now and go up toward areas there around Lake City. You do see here the skyline, giving you guys that visual there. Nice sunset maybe for some of you, depending on where you're at. But you can kind of see here the cloud cover in play there. We've seen some of that around, and looking for that SpaceX launch earlier. Couldn't really see too much with that cloud cover in play. There's going to be another one here, though, Tuesday morning. That's going to be a manned mission. So that's something to kind of keep an eye out for. And then as we look toward Gainesville now, this is an odd view, but you can kind of see what's happening there toward the University of Florida. I know, of course, all those important exams coming up as well there with graduation on the horizon. And then as we get toward the International Golf Parkway, towards St. Johns County, I-95, giving you guys that viewpoint there. You can see here the road kind of quiet, not really quiet, but kind of quiet here. That's something we'll keep our eyes on for sure. So, again, we'll keep our eyes on this situation here. As we do look, I know we'll go now over toward the next camera in line. That's going to be toward Jacksonville on 95 and Hendricks Avenue here, giving you guys that viewpoint. As we get out toward that area, we'll definitely keep our eyes on these different camera sites. I know we will use some of the live video in the coverage here the other day to see if weather coverage when that's necessary. Hopefully nothing like that necessary for a good little bit here, especially from that local level. Hopefully nothing national either, but I guess you just never know with things how they can evolve from that national level type of threat. But let me go ahead now and we'll move away from the traffic cameras and we'll pop back up that viewpoint here of things. I know just one more note here on our local area. before we go back on over to that national picture, I know FSU baseball really doing some great things here lately. They, of course, beat the Gators last Tuesday, and then they had 3 straight wins against number 9 Louisville, and then yesterday beating Georgia Southern. That's 5 straight wins against top 25 opponents. Well, the Noles not in the top 25 in the poll, being used at least on the ACC Network and ACC Network Extra, but definitely interesting to see that. Hopefully the Noles will be ranked in that pretty soon. Big battles coming ahead here this weekend up toward Clemson, South Carolina. So weather should be pretty good for that, it looks like, here at this point, as we go ahead and go on over toward our graphic system now, looking from that national perspective. You can see here what's going on with a threat as we get out toward the Panhandle of Texas tomorrow. So Amarillo, enhanced risk there to some more for threats other than tornado per se here as we have these storms in play. We're not talking about this being a tornado-driven enhanced risk at least, but you see the threat in toward Kansas here as well, around Liberal, Kansas, Garden City, Colby, just some of the different communities there in that state as you look there. And then as we get toward Nebraska, the community of McCook there, also under that enhanced risk, so definitely something to keep our eyes on. And as we get towards Saturday, you'll be able to see what's going on with the threat. You can see up toward Oklahoma City, Norman, Tulsa. There's a threat all the way up in toward Kansas City, Des Moines, Minneapolis. We'll be watching for that. I haven't nailed down maybe an enhanced risk area in this yet, but that could end up coming, so we'll continue to monitor for that. Of course, when there's local severe weather on, to keep you safe on all the different platforms, so Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch, we're here for you to keep you guys ahead of the danger like we were on Sunday. That threat here jumped up pretty quick on that Easter holiday, but we were here in the Weather Center, provided coverage for about 5 hours, the better part of that here on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch. As we go ahead, though, and look now toward that rainfall forecast next 7 days, it looks pretty calm here overall. You can kind of see what's going on here toward North Florida, towards South Georgia. Not seeing too much rain amount. Here about 1/10 of an inch, maybe something to that effect here as we look ahead. Maybe a little bit more toward the Big Bend. We'll see, but you see bigger amounts out toward maybe Oklahoma, Arkansas there, that area. So we're talking about areas there maybe around Fayetteville, Arkansas, the University of Arkansas, Fort Smith in there, and then southeast Oklahoma, a variety of communities there as well. And even in the North Texas, Dallas, Fort Worth, DFW, Metroplex getting into some of this here too. But now that 7-day forecast, and now this looks pretty nice here, folks. Again, though, you got to be aware if you're going to the beaches of that rip current danger. That is a significant danger here, at least through Saturday. I put it on the next 7 days. It's harder to nail down those rip current threats as we get past a couple of days, really. But just give you that heads up here, that threat with the breezy conditions around. We're going to be watching those breezy conditions here last a while. You see 10% tomorrow, 10% Saturday, Sunday, 30%. Though as we get toward Tuesday and then falling back down a little bit, you see core temperatures in store. So let me go ahead and pop up our look at this right now. Step on over so you see what I'm talking about. As you see, it's 88 at the high we're projecting for Tuesday, but then going back down again with the funnel system coming in. 83 on Wednesday, 83 on Thursday. I know that launch Tuesday morning here. Maybe being able to see that. Just be careful if you're headed outside, because obviously early in the morning might be kind of hard to see. But in terms of the just going outside in your yard, it's to be a pretty good view if the cloud cover holds on out here of our area here toward North Central Florida. But then as you see toward maybe next Thursday there, those temperatures Thursday morning, we're going to be down to 58, and then we have the NFL draft to look ahead to at 8 o'clock there. That's going to be taking place, and the Jacksonville Jaguars have the first pick again, hopefully this year. Another great pick will come to town, and another great set of picks, really, as we kind of look ahead there for the team, and other teams in play there as well, obviously, trying to improve, or, I mean, like a Super Bowl champion, like, I guess, the Rams, or they're just trying to kind of keep things pretty similar there in the overall storyline, but some teams have a tendency to go more with those free agents versus those draft picks, and sometimes that actually ends up working out for them like it did for the Rams. But as we go ahead now and get back on over toward the mapping here, we'll go ahead and go back on over toward that local mapping, and you can see here things are pretty calm on that Doppler radar. I know we have that little 10% silent chance in there just to kind of keep things honest, I guess you could say here, because you never know. We have those sprinkles from time to time. but it's nothing to be too concerned about as we go ahead. I do want to put our IR satellite on here. We'll go ahead and do that right now and kind of give you guys a viewpoint of things. And you don't see too much around. You see a little bit as we get toward the Atlantic, but not too much. But as you get toward areas there, to take off the radar because I don't want things to overlap. You see toward areas like Missouri, some of that storminess there, but then in Kansas, I know more information trying to pop up. But you see that area there, a couple distinct areas really severe thunderstorm activity, and then even California. But look out there, you don't see that as much though because you see these core temperatures as well. That kind of sometimes plays a role in things here and how the storms develop. But we'll continue to keep our eyes on everything here in the Weather Center. I know that tornado warning is still continuing for areas in California. That's warning in Kansas. That could be an area where we have to watch for a tornado threat to increase here throughout the evening. That's tornado watch and play until about 11 o'clock Central Time there for parts of Kansas. So I'll be watching for that concern, obviously. You can see a couple of storms right now. Let's see if they're showing rotation. This one right here is showing some, at least on the broad tracker. And then another one here again northwest of Greensburg here in Kansas. You can kind of see that tornado parameter there. You see how it kind of goes up there as we get further toward the north, and we have to watch for the overlap of that and some of the other instability factors here as well, because those are always important in these type of weather situations. Thanks so much for tuning in, though. I think that pretty much does it here for this Thursday, to see if there's anything else we need to go over. And I really don't think there is. But again, just stay with me here. We might have some things on Cloud Casey on Twitter if there's some bigger threats that emerge from time to time out toward the west there. But hopefully nothing will have to come on for. But you never know. As we saw last week, some areas there had tornado emergencies on them. And of course, we try to come on for those whenever those get issued by the different offices across the country. But again, thanks so much for tuning in and trusting me here. I'm meteorologist Casey Cloud. Wishing you a great weekend out there. Enjoy things, but stay safe there at the beaches.